In this skill lesson, we will be discussing point of view in literature. But let's begin with a question. What is the point of view or cultural experience reflected in your favorite book, TV show, or movie? And how were you able to figure out the point of view? I love reading and watching stories from different cultural perspectives. One of my favorite books that I've read over the past few years is Pachinko, which was a New York Times bestseller. The story, written by a Korean author, explores a family through generations. I was not even aware that Japan had occupied Korea in the early 20th century and the impact that Japanese occupation had on Korea until I read this book. Another one that stands out to me is the anime film Grave of the Fireflies. Anime is pretty popular right now, but back when this was released, it was pretty rare to find a Japanese animation film in the United States. This film is a heartbreaker that explores life in Japan after the US bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Seeing this story told from a Japanese perspective has really changed how I view the events of World War II and the effect that it has had on everyday Japanese citizens. And currently, one series that I've really been enjoying is Reservation Dogs. This story takes place on a tribal reservation in Oklahoma, exploring the life of a group of teenagers as they navigate their way into adulthood. I really enjoy this show because it has shown me a lot about the Muskogee Nation and reservation life in the modern age. When we think about point of view in literature, we often think about what perspective the author is using to narrate the story, such as first person, second person, or third person. And perspective is important to understand. But point of view goes beyond the narrator's perspective. It also applies to the cultural point of view of the story. Is it written from an American or European perspective, an Asian or African perspective, a Latin or Indigenous American perspective, or any other cultural view? Every cultural point of view brings unique aspects to storytelling and can help readers gain more cultural awareness. The danger of cultural blindness is that it can lead to negative stereotypes about people from different cultures. This became an issue with African literature being written primarily by European authors, and why writers like Chinua Achebe decided to write from his cultural perspective of an African to combat the stereotypes that ran rampant about African people. And that brings us to the learning objective and tasks for this skill lesson. Our learning objective is to be able to identify and analyze the point of view or cultural experience reflected in an excerpt from Things Fall Apart. And here are your tasks. First, if you haven't already, watch the concept definition video and read the introduction on tab 1. Then complete the vocabulary drag and drop activity on tab 2 to make sure that you are familiar with some of the terms used with this skill. After that, read the model page. The top half contains instructions for applying this skill. The bottom half is a student example. As you read through the students' highlights and comments, ask yourself how they identify ways that point of view and cultural experience are reflected early in the excerpt, as well as how details about Unoka's lifestyle led the student to discover more about the cultural experience and point of view of the story. Finally, when you feel ready, complete the Your Turn activity on tab 4 and check your results. Learning how to appreciate unique cultural points of view can enhance our enjoyment of literature as well as increase our global awareness. However, it can sometimes be tricky to identify. If you feel lost at any point during this skill lesson, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you through this.